Well, Standard & Poor's Rating Services has revised on the long-term sovereign credit rating on the Republic of Rwanda to stable from positive. Joining us on the line from Frankfurt, Germany, to look at the rationale behind the revised outlook, Cristian Esters, Senior Director of Sovereign Ratings at Standard & Poor's. Thank you so much for joining us, Cristian. So you talk about the fact that donors have been pulling out some aid from the country. Just give us an indication of how much aid has in fact been pulled out and why this was a catalyst for revising that outlook.
Right. We've been rating Rwanda since the end of last year, and our initial rating of B had a positive outlook, and that reflected a variety of issues, and among those were donor support that we think is key to develop the country and is also very important from a fiscal perspective for the country, but also from a balance of payment perspective, so basically reserves flowing into the country. Now, what has happened is that the external environment has weakened in our view. Some donors have suspended or delayed aid to the country. We think that this aid suspension will be rather short, but at the same time it means that the reason for our positive outlook for the time being is no longer given. With an outlook statement, if Standard & Poor's assigns an outlook to a rating, that is an indication of where we think the rating could move in the next 12 months. We've put the outlook on stable now because we think that the rating is less likely to move than we thought prior to the donors suspending or delaying aid.
Going forward, though, basically what has driven the fact that they've been pulling aid out of the country is the tensions between the Congolese government and, of course, Rwanda, saying that Rwanda is supporting a rebel group from the Congolese army. What are your thoughts on the assessment of the geopolitical tensions right now? The tensions obviously have led to the suspension of aid to Rwanda. We don't think the geopolitical tensions have an impact on Rwanda's credit rating in the first place. So when we look at the credit rating, we really look at we do look at the political situation in Rwanda. We look at the fiscal situation. We look at the balance of payment situation. And our key driver here has been the suspension of aid by the donors. We basically estimate that 15% of amounts for the time being have been suspended or delayed. The timetable for the geopolitical situation, I think that's important for us to look at in the next couple of months. We understand there will be further reports. There will be also further discussions between the Rwandan authorities and some of the key donors. So that's the timetable really in terms of geopolitics and international relations that we're watching, and we will assess on an ongoing basis what the impact is on donor flows, aid flows coming into Rwanda. In what type of scenario might you in fact lower Rwanda's sovereign credit rating?
I think one of the key weaknesses from our perspective is the external position, external liquidity. So what could put pressure on the rating is a weakening of external liquidity. For instance, if the delay in aid disbursements was more extended than we currently think. And also another potential trigger for downgrade could be if the regional conflicts, if those really have a more fundamental effect on Rwanda's economic performance and also on the fiscal performance, more fundamental than we currently think.
Cristian, very quickly, what we saw from the World Bank report, Ease of Doing Business report, is in fact Rwanda was slipping down that report. Were you concerned about this, given the fact that Rwanda has been lauded for being one of the best places to open up a business globally? The reform momentum in Rwanda is one of the supporting factors for the rating, but having said that, we have always taken into account all the low development that the country has from a global perspective, and the credit rating that we have is comparable on a global basis. The rating, as I said, is single B, so that is, for instance, below the rating that we have on Mozambique. It's below the rating we have on Kenya and Uganda. So we have taken a view in the past that Rwanda ranks probably rather at the bottom end of our rating scale. So from that perspective, we don't see these new reports or ranking in the index. That's not a driver for our rating to take any negative action.